come down to Tels Plus satisfaction guarantee. Tels Plus, Tels Plus, Tels Plus. Big test with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A plus, with all kind of tests come down to Tels Plus. We also got gas and vanity. Box, DOS, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody, we got the best as an island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Jugosile, and Slack Street in Dufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tels Plus.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Apologies for not being able to be in yesterday, but of course, hopefully we can certainly be in for the rest of the week. And today in particular, we need to note it is World Tourism Day, and that is being celebrated all around the world. It's part of the United Nations system of remembering certain, events and people and things that are important all around the world. And certainly tourism has become significantly important, not just to countries like ours with the sun, sea, and sand, but certainly countries all around the world that are offering different experiences, the ability to visit heritage and monuments, the nature tourism, of course, pretty much anything of note. I mean, there's, of course, even tourism to volcanoes and places where disasters occurred. That interests some individuals. There's also the dark tourism, and that would be tourism which tends to focus on places that people don't normally want to visit, even things like prisons. For instance, Alcatraz Island in the Bay Area near San Francisco, and Robben Island off the coast of Cape Town in South Africa. They've all become go-to places which attract hundreds of thousands of people, and because of some event or some individual, of course, who may have passed through those walls. Excuse me. Now, in terms of this year, the matter of tourism and green investments is, in fact, excuse me. Sorry about that. I just had to cough a bit. Yeah, so the matter of tourism and green investments is becoming a very important issue, and for development, because people realize that tourism can, in fact, have a very negative impact on the environment. And we have seen right here in St. Lucia the tussle that has occurred, especially in terms of tourism and our coastal areas, tourism and our beaches. Of course, we are not the typical tourist destination when people think of the Caribbean. We are not a coral island completely wrapped around by white sand beaches or pink sand beaches, whatever the case may be. We, in fact, are very, very different in our tourism product, and the appreciation of that difference is very important. And we have seen certainly a rise in interest in terms of ecotourism and adventure tourism. In fact, I think St. Lucia, for the first time, was able to win a recognition, World Travel Awards recognition, in the area of adventure, giving sense, of course, that it is certainly not just simply about visitors coming in and staying at an all-inclusive hotel by the seashore, by the sand, on the sand, spending the entire day there. No, the experience has to be different, and more people are looking for that more authentic opportunity to immerse themselves in the culture of a place, the culture and heritage of where they are actually visiting. And of course, that means, therefore, that the model and the approach that we have taken in the past needs to also pivot more towards where we in fact have natural advantages. So let us hope that we are in fact going to see that commitment regarding the matter of green investments when we speak of tourism. We can well appreciate that a significant environmental impact is realized as a result of hosting hundreds of thousands of people coming in. Sometimes they're coming in the thousands if they're coming in on a cruise ship, for instance, over a very short period of time. But of course, by the very nature of the act of travel, they are also expending quite a lot of energy, and they require quite a lot of resources. So a lot of what we're seeing being as inputs into the tourism product are actually coming from along with the tourists as well. We have to import a lot of those things. And so that is also a major issue in terms of that environmental footprint. How can we also ensure that the product that we actually have is less dependent on that model and in fact is a more locally produced product. And so we have to look at these issues. And of course, there's also the issue of other issues of pollution, the issue of water, especially given the issues of water scarcity and meeting the demands of some of these attractions, meeting the demands of hotels. That is, of course, the reality is that the amount of water you would budget for on a daily basis in terms of water consumption for a hotel guest is far more than what you would actually provide or estimate for somebody staying in their own residence. And that is partly because you're seeing issues of laundries, for instance, the issues of lots of things have to be washed on a regular basis. And you have, of course, swimming pools. And unfortunately as well, we've seen quite a lot of waste when people they go on vacation and they believe sometimes they can simply leave the lights on and leave the air conditioning running, and you end up with a lot of waste. And of course, there have been tremendous efforts over time by hotels for their own interest, of course, as well, in terms of trying to manage their bottom line, in ensuring that you have more efficient buildings, more automated systems that ensure that the lights go off or the air conditioning goes off when the rooms are not in use. And of course, also asking for individuals not to necessarily have to have their room cleaned on a daily basis, or not to have the sheets cleaned or changed on a daily basis, because of all of that can really impact and save in the long run, especially countries like ours. So it is certainly really important from that perspective and to ensure that that happens. But even more broadly, looking at the product and ensuring that the product is not jeopardizing, the tourism product is not jeopardizing the very thing that people want to come and visit. And that has been a major challenge with tourism over the years. You see it in places where you've got hundreds of thousands of people coming to see a particular site. It might be Stonehenge in England, or the pyramids in Mexico or in Egypt, and these individuals sometimes can end up causing destruction to the site. Overuse is a significant problem, and certainly in terms of natural sites, it can also become a major problem too, in terms of pollution, in terms of degradation of the very same thing. And so even where you have maybe a nature trail or some sort of site, there are issues of carrying capacities. How many people can that site safely manage in any one day or in any one period of time? And of course, we can think of some of the very popular sites in St. Lucia where, for instance, like the Sulphur Springs, where tens of thousands of people want to visit. It's one of the leading attractions on the island. And so how do you then ensure that you manage and maintain that attraction and it does not cause greater degradation of the very site itself? And so the idea of protecting areas is very important when we are also speaking about the matter of green investments. And many tourism destinations have had to take a new look in terms of how they deal with ensuring that the visitor is more directly contributing to funds or to agencies that are in fact engaged in the business of protecting the environment and ensuring that there are green actions and green investments being made. Hawaii quite recently went that direction. In fact, I think including a tariff or a fee on every visitor coming into the island. And I certainly think that that is probably the way that we certainly need to go with respect to our protection of our very own resources. It is, in fact, we're coming up to the 20th anniversary next year, for instance, of the enlisting of the Peters Management Area as a World Heritage Site. And the truth is we probably have not done over those 2 decades enough in terms of ensuring that that site can realize its true potential, but is also very well protected. And so there's certainly still a number of outstanding matters and points of conflict in terms of the management of that site that need to be addressed. One of them, of course, is that even on the Peters themselves, even within areas that have been demarcated since enlisting as those no-build zones, many of those properties are actually not owned by the state. They're in private hands. And so that has caused over time, as we can well appreciate, possibilities of conflict and in terms of the use. And of course, we have this concept, and it's been raised many times under our law, the issue of enjoyment of use. Now, it's something that we can debate about as to what that really means, enjoyment of property, the right to enjoy your property, and what exactly does that mean? How can you enjoy your property? Does that necessarily mean that you can put up a hotel on the property? Well, that's a big question. And so those issues are certainly things that we have to tackle. And if it is in fact the pull, if in fact it is our beauty, the wondrous nature and the heritage that is in fact encouraging people to come to our island, we cannot take those things for granted. And we also have to spend some of that money, spend some of the monies that we actually are realizing from this tourism product to ensure that these things will be sustainably used, that they are protected, that they are going to realize longevity far beyond when all of us have moved on to the great beyond. So it is certainly a very important step that has to occur right here in St. Lucia as we are in fact marking World Tourism Day today. And in fact, I think the Ministry of Tourism has a number of various events which they have been marking for the week. And so we certainly do wish them very well. Now, of course, as I mentioned earlier on, it is also the 20th anniversary of the passing of George Odlum. And of course, that name, Brother George, is very well known perhaps all across St. Lucia and certainly for even beyond St. Lucia. He was a very well-read gentleman who made a name for himself, even certainly when he was studying over in the University of Bristol in the United Kingdom. And in fact, I think there's even at least a room in the Students' Union building named in his honor, and as a result of, in fact, he being the president of the Bristol Students' Union. He certainly was a marvelous orator, an individual who could inspire and move individuals, tremendously charismatic, and certainly made a contribution in terms of the intellectual awareness and public education of many, many St. Lucians. We can, of course, think back to the years of struggle from the periods of Marcus Garvey and going way back into the early first 2 decades of the 20th century, and then the struggles of the 1930s in terms of the strikes that went on there, which inspired the labor movement, and then moved towards adult suffrage and better rights for workers. But then in that post-World War II period of development, and then the rise of Black Power, certainly the realization of that independence movement, especially in the 1960s, across much of the former British and French colonies, realizing independence at that point, and then, of course, the rise of Black Power personalities during those periods, of course, the civil rights struggle of the time, all came around, so to speak, and at least in the case of St. Lucia, culminated, especially during the 1970s, to a significant level of awakening. And certainly the efforts of George Odlum in pursuits such as the Forum, in terms of reaching into and dealing with the issue of public education, was certainly very, very important. And so he was certainly part of one of many leaders across the Caribbean who were certainly very active during that period of time to promote just that. And of course, to the extent that there was even the hosting right here in St. Lucia during that very same period of the 1970s of what was known as the Rat Island Conference, which occurred where you saw many leaders of that period coming together as well. He, of course, certainly has had a very colorful political history, and we do know of that period of 1979 to 1982. Of course, the fracturing of the Labour Party, which he was in, eventually creating two separate Labour parties, the St. Lucia Labour Party seeing a splinter of the Progressive Labour Party, PLP, which in fact continued to be around for a few electoral cycles before eventually, of course, he also then moving towards serving the country in his capacity as the permanent representative to the United Nations in New York, and then later on rejoining the St. Lucia Labour Party, in fact contesting again and becoming the island's foreign affairs minister. Of course, it was at that time that we also saw the shift of diplomatic alliances with China, with the country then moving from the Republic of China to the People's Republic of China at that point. And of course, the honor of one of the projects which he was, of course, very instrumental in seeing realized, that of the National Stadium, which was built at Saint-Herbert in Vieux-Fort, that has, of course, been named in his honor. And so, of course, the George Odlum Foundation has been around, and they've continued to try to honor his memory through lecture series, and we do hope that we can see his contribution continued to be remembered in part of the political, social, and economic fabric of St. Lucia. Now, we're due to take in our weather report at this time. So we are going to do that right now. And then when we come back, we'll open up the lines to take in some calls.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. With all kind of tiles, come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gas and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down, don't mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Juguruzile, and Slack Street in Dufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tiles Plus.
And the latest weather report is brought to you by Flow and Island Style, Tile and Bath.
Hurricane season can be unpredictable, but your business doesn't have to be. In the face of adversity, you need a partner that goes above and beyond. Choose the path of resilience and certainty with CNW Business. Through disaster recovery as a strategy solution, CNW Business will safeguard your critical data, maintain seamless communication channels, and help you bounce back faster than ever before. Visit our website, cwcbusiness.com/myopenbusiness to learn more. Remember, a safe business is an open business.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with these tile stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my #1 store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and Vieux Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
The latest weather report for today, 28th September 2023, is as of noon, and the forecaster is Webster Kajada. Weather at Urinora Airport is fair. Weather at GFL Charles Airport is partly cloudy. Temperature at Urinora Airport is 32 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Celsius. Sorry, that is 32 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Last night's minimum temperature at Urinora Airport was 24 degrees Celsius or 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Relative humidity at Urinora Airport is 70%. Wind at Urinora Airport is blowing from the southeast at 13 miles per hour or 20 kilometers per hour. Rainfall in the 24-hour period that ended at 8 a.m. today at Urinora Airport, 0.1 millimeters. And GFL Charles Airport, 3.2 millimeters. Total rainfall for the month of September so far at Urinora Airport is 70.6 millimeters. At GFL Charles Airport, 103.3 millimeters. Sunset today, 5:55 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow, 5:53 a.m. Forecast for St. Lucia valid for the next 24 hours. The winds will be light and variable or calm at times. Weather fair to partly cloudy with a few brief showers. Marine fall forecast for season of 25 mile or 40 kilometer radius from St. Lucia. Tides for Castries Harbor, high at 3 p.m., low at 8:46 p.m. Tides for Viewfort Bay, high at 4:07 p.m., low at 10:13 p.m. Seas are moderate with waves 4 to 6 feet or 1.2 to 1.8 meters. Forecast for the Lesser Antilles, fair to partly cloudy with a few isolated showers. And the tropical weather outlook. Light and variable winds will continue across the Lesser Antilles over the next few days. At 11 a.m. today, the center of Tropical Storm Felipe was located near latitude 18.6 degrees north, longitude 54.6 degrees west, about 560 miles or 895 kilometers east of the northern Leeward Islands. Felipe is moving towards the west-northwest near 2 miles per hour or 4 kilometers per hour. Maximum sustained winds are near 50 miles per hour or 85 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. Interest in the Leeward Islands should continue to monitor the progress of this system. The strong tropical wave located over the central tropical Atlantic has been upgraded to a tropical storm. At 11 a.m. today, the center of Tropical Storm Rena was located near latitude 17.4 degrees north, longitude that's 45 degrees west. Rena is moving towards the north-northwest near 10 miles per hour or 17 kilometers per hour. Maximum sustained winds are near 40 miles per hour or 64 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. This system does not pose a threat to our region at this time. A tropical wave located over the far eastern tropical Atlantic is drifting slowly westward. And that is the latest weather forecast for today, 28th September 2023. We say thank you to our forecaster, Webster Kajada. The latest weather forecast is brought to you by Island Style, Tile and Bath, and Flow.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3
Hurricane season can be unpredictable, but your business doesn't have to be. In the face of adversity, you need a partner that goes above and beyond. Choose the path of resilience and certainty with C&W Business. Through disaster recovery as a strategy solution, C&W Business will safeguard your critical data, maintain seamless communication channels, and help you bounce back faster than ever before. Visit our website, cwcbusiness.com/myopenbusiness to learn more. Remember, a safe business is an open business.
Lucia, the best deals on tires are at Island Style. Get into the festive spirit with our pre-Christmas style clearance sale. Starting now, we're slashing prices on a wide selection of high-quality tires, offering unbeatable discounts from 15 to 50% off. Enjoy huge savings now on our massive inventory of ceramic and porcelain tires. For every need, we've got the perfect tires to make your home merry and bright. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to give your home a stunning makeover at jaw-dropping prices. Visit us today in Castries, Rodney Bay, and Viewfort, or call 450-451-453 Tile. That's 8453 today. Hurry down. These deals won't last long. Save money now. Only at Island Style.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Of course, the number to call in is 452-3046. Again, it is 452-3046. And also, you can message in to our WhatsApp platform. That is 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. And I think we did see a post that had come in recently, just a little while ago, where we were speaking about some history of the today and pointing out about the meter. Now, of course, the meter is part of a system which is known as SI units or System International, which is originally based out of France and has created the metric system of units. And of course, the person who is contributing that the meter has been around for much longer than that. And I'm not debating that at all. I think the issue is how it is defined. And I think that's what the point of that post was, that there is in fact a world body that, if in effect, finds ways to define how long a second is, and that has to do with I think the radioactive decay of cesium, and in this instance it defines how long a meter is. So the person was pointing out that the concept of a meter may have very well had its origins coming out of ancient Egypt. And of course, we have seen a tremendous amount of mathematics and of knowledge coming out of ancient Egypt, or Kemet, as it would have been known, the land of the blacks. And it certainly has, in terms of even the knowledge of issues of the size of the earth, and knowledge that in fact the earth was round, and a number of experiments that were done by early Egyptian thinkers and scientists to be able to do so. So there's no doubt about it that there was a lot of knowledge known by the ancient world, but in terms of the definition as to how they would measure this meter, that was what was determined at that point in 1889. So I hope that clarifies somewhat the point that is being made. And in no way does it certainly take away from the extent and the wealth of knowledge of ancient civilizations like the Egyptians, and certainly like the Sumerians, to whom we owe a lot of our understanding of time and the measure of time, and why we have 60 seconds in a minute, and why we how we calculate the number of days in a week. That whole concept of even having 7 days in a week comes out of Sumeria, which is in fact in the region of the Tigris and Euphrates in modern day Iraq, where in fact that civilization existed, and in fact was also one of the earliest civilizations to develop a system of writing as well. So certainly there's a lot of knowledge that is still in fact being unearthed through archaeology about these civilizations, and how much some of them actually knew, or certainly how much some people in those civilizations actually knew. So certainly thanks for sharing with us that point regarding the knowledge of ancient Egypt and the concept of the meter. Now, wanted to also touch on a bit of politics, and as always, in fact, well, let's say that in the last election cycle, we saw quite a lot of accusations being made regarding allegations of corruption, allegations of collusion, allegations of spending on certain projects, and of course, also how property would have been acquired by various ministers and others. Now, of course, we do have what is known as the Integrity in Public Life Act, and that is further to the provisions of the St. Lucia Constitution that establishes an integrity commission. And the purpose of that, of course, is to deal with the matters of what we can all put under the umbrella of anti-corruption, or if you like, accountability and transparency, certainly of public officers, because we do know that all power and power unchecked certainly can corrupt. And of course, we also know that money, as some may say, as has been said in the Bible, is the root of all evil. And so that awareness of the issue of corruption is a very real one. And of course, it is necessary as it is under our laws for members of parliament, but also ministers, members of persons who hold high office, including public servants and their spouses, to in fact declare their assets. And I think they're supposed to do so on an annual basis. And that is to in fact provide some clarity and guidance regarding what they have come in with and effectively what they're leaving with. And we also can appreciate that in very many instances, the power of the state is really really important in terms of decision making. The state can, in many ways, make or break in terms of the policies that are set out by the legislature, by the executive, and certainly even by members of the judiciary. So as a result of that, there is that possibility that individuals can be bribed. We can see that there's an issue of the potential for influence, and so there are people who are out there who are trying to lobby for one thing or another, for access, for resources, and you can name it. I mean, we've seen the issues continue to plague us, from people wanting to get a passport within a certain period of time, to all the way up to the potential for rights to build hotels or to purchase property or to get certain contracts or deals to supply things to the state or to have the rights to do whatever the case may be. And that is quite often because of state power. The individuals who hold state power certainly have to have a certain level of transparency and accountability with respect to their own their own finances, their own private affairs. And so that, of course, is well in order. And, of course, we certainly do need to ensure that we put teeth to those institutions that we can, in fact, ensure accountability. But, of course, on the other side of the spectrum, you sometimes do have what one can perhaps just simply call muddying of the waters. And that is a significant issue with respect to politics in St. Lucia, certainly, and perhaps all around the world. The quickest and easiest defense for many individuals who are perhaps caught red-handed is to go out on an offense and to accuse the accuser of the very same thing that they are in fact engaged in. And so therefore nobody can begin to tell what is true or not, what is real or false, and it becomes very, very muddy and it becomes very confusing. And what that effectively does is that it degrades the confidence levels that individuals have in their politicians. It is a major challenge because all around the world we are seeing more and more young people being less attracted to politics. And the general statement that you will hear many making is that all politicians are the same. You know, all of them fellas doing the same thing. All of them fellas corrupt. That's what we hear on a regular basis. And so, in fact, it has caused for possibly a level of stagnation in terms of fresh blood and infusion of new individuals coming into the political sphere. And we, in fact, saw one individual jump into the race in the last electoral cycle. And that individual is now the Member of Parliament for Grosley, the Honorable Kenson Kazmi. He, after the 61 boxes in the constituency of Grosley were counted on the night of July the 26th, was able to get 58.1% of the votes cast, and in fact was able to defeat his closest opponent, Mr. Leonard Spider Montoot, by over 2,053 votes. Certainly one of the largest margins ever. Certainly for one of the largest margins in that general election, and perhaps as well the largest margin that constituency had ever been won certainly for a very long time, for a number of electoral cycles. And so, of course, a lot of that support, no doubt, came from young people and others within, I suppose, millennials who came out to support Mr. Kazimi. And of course, since then, he has also taken up responsibility as the honorable member, as a minister responsible for youth development and sport. But of course, the nature of politics is that, like I said, the order of the day is trying to muddy the waters. And we have seen time and time again, the efforts at play to suggest that certain people have amassed significant amount of wealth. You would recall, for instance, the former Prime Minister Kenny D. Anthony was suggestions were made that he owned a mall somewhere in Trinidad and Tobago, and that he owned a house at Cap Estate, and whatever the case may be. And even more recently, a similar attempt was made by a site called United Pack St. Lucia, which is, of course, on Facebook. And they posted a picture of the current Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, posted effectively overlaid in a house, and a picture of a house, the internal house, and a room in the house, looking out a window and looking at the view, and asking him if he could recognize this house. And in other words, suggesting that the house belonged to him and that somehow he had purchased this house. And lo and behold, it just so happened that I actually recognized the house. And I, in fact, can say without a doubt that I have never known, it has never been owned by the Prime Minister, has never in any way been owned by anybody in the family of the Prime Minister at all, no relative of the Prime Minister. So absolutely no connection to that house in question. But that is the nature of politics. And I suppose I should say that is the nature of malicious politics. Not all politics, but malicious politics. And we're seeing it again, and this time coming out of that very same page, which appears to be very much associated with the United Workers' Party, this matter of trying to suggest that there is some corruption or something of the sort with respect to now one of the youngest members of the parliament, and one of the young people who took the decision to put himself up into, of course, a sphere, knowing, of course, that, of course, it can be very, very nasty. And so again, this time, it's very similar post, just as was tried with the current Prime Minister, a picture of a house, and then a picture of Mr. Kazimi overlaid onto this house. And I think it seems to be coming off maybe a real estate website. I'm not going to mention the name of the website or the real estate agency. But this picture there and a picture of a house. And then it asks, how did Kenson Kazimi afford a house for 1.3 million EC dollars? And of course, two things are a little bit questionable, of course, in this one instance. Because anybody who may see or who knows anything about real estate would know that the asking price for a property is not necessarily the price that the property was bought for. So that's the first thing to begin with. Nor is it usually the price at which the property perhaps was built for either. And we know that just from that basis alone, people purchase properties. Sometimes they purchase properties where they get very good deals. Sometimes they purchase properties and they make improvements to the properties with the intention of later on down the road actually selling those properties. So, and they do so with the understanding that they would be able to make a profit on those properties. It's a very common practice all over the United States. It's called flipping. And it's a very common practice everywhere around the world, because the whole point of real estate and the whole point of most times when people when they purchase properties, quite often, yes, they may want to live there, and yes, it may be a home for the purposes of having a residence, but also it may very well be for the purpose of an investment. And so people invest in real estate. And so they will do so. Sometimes they will build greenfield and they'll build it from scratch, or sometimes they will buy a property which has already been around, and so they make improvements, and then they will want to sell it for a markup. And that is the nature of business. So even the concept of what is being put out there, if in fact, let's just say, if in fact that this is the house in question, which is owned by Minister Kazimi, and he's selling it for a certain price, or he's asking a certain value for it, that does not mean, number one, that he's going to get that value for it, nor does it mean that he purchased it for that property, nor does it mean that it was built for that value either. So just wanted to raise that matter. But anyways, it has caused for quite a lot of responses of people coming out and replying to this matter on this page. Nearly 400 comments, in fact, and very many of them speaking rather condemning the post to begin with. But anyways, and although he perhaps did not necessarily have to post such a thing, but he has, of course, come out and he has made a clear statement on this entire matter. And so I'm just sharing what was posted now by Honorable Kenson Kazimi. It is no surprise that yet again the UWP attacks and attempts to destroy the reputation of someone. Yet again, they are attempting to scare good and honorable people from entering politics with their smear campaigns, but I will not be deterred. They want to detract from the good work that we are accomplishing in Grosley, but together we press on. I have owned my home for 7 years now, which still has a mortgage and a further loan from the credit union for some renovations, so I could rent downstairs to generate income. The investment in my home started 7 years ago when I was a sportscaster and owner of St. Lucia Sports Online. My family knows of the sacrifice I made, working 2 and sometimes 3 jobs to get where I am today. As a young man growing up on the hard streets of Grosley from a single-parent home, I saw my mother walking to Cap Estate to clean homes and selling her cakes on the streets of Grosley. I vowed to not let my upbringing decide my course in life, but it's one thing it has taught me. It is to find my independence. This has come through hard work, sacrifice, and investment in my personal and professional development. Of course, the UWP does not believe in personal growth and creating a self-sufficient nation, and that is why they will continue to attack me. Unlike former UWP ministers, I did not get rich or switch. I didn't acquire million-dollar villas, orchards, or property. Unlike them, I will continue to work hard for the people of Grosley and promote the work of my government, which seeks to benefit all St. Lucians. They are unable to debate the development of Grosley on a policy level. They are not happy that the rear meter bridge is complete, the Grosley jetty complete, the 10 roads completed in 2 years compared to 0 done in the first 3 years of my predecessor. They are not pleased with the fact that works on the Grosley waterfront begins in October and the fully solar lighting and commissioning of the Corinth playing field will be done by November. So don't make the UWP kidnap your minds so you can never fulfill your dreams. Do you, stay focused, and do it the right way. I remain here to serve. And that post by Kenson Kazimi, no doubt in response to this post by United PAC, which it would appear, seems to be continuing along a certain line of attack, because of course it even before that, or I think maybe after that, also posted a statement: how many civil servants can afford a $1.3 million home on their government salary? So I certainly do hope that yes, we need to hold politicians to account. Yes, we do certainly need to ensure that politicians are forthcoming with the relevant information in terms of submitting their declarations of assets to the Integrity Commission. I certainly do hope that we will also see that teeth will be added by amendments to that legislation so that action can be taken if, in fact, individuals do not make those necessary declaration of assets. But at the same time, we certainly do need to raise the bar when it comes to politics. Because if we want to be able to attract more young people into politics, if we want to be able to attract more women into politics, we certainly do need to ensure that politics is not simply about slinging mud and hoping that that mud is going to stick somewhere. We're not going to get further along with the country's policies and programs and the development of this country if that is the approach. So, to the individuals who are continuously engaging in this kind of politics, it's time to clean up the act. It's time to raise the bar and to do better in terms of issues. There are enough issues that one can discuss. If you want to be discussing the issues of inflation, the issues of policy, of taxation, issues of prices, that's great. Issues of policies, whether it's with tourism or investment or whatever the case, that's great. But we certainly do need to do better when it comes to cleaning up the mouthpieces that exist in the political sphere. Now, it's overtime already. I'm not sure that we can really take in any calls, but I will simply allow maybe just one very quick call at this time. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today? Hello, caller. Hello? Caller, I think you're listening to yourself. Caller?
Hello?
Yes, hello, caller.
Hi, good afternoon. How do you expect them to clean up the mouth when most of the people... Hello? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you, but lower your television or your whatever you're listening on. You're hearing yourself, I think.
Expect people to clean up when most of those people that are doing this thing, I don't care where, are political leeches. They are missing the privileges and perks they used to get. So when you're not able to get all of those things again, those people are angry and will do anything to destroy other people's reputation. I don't know how some people are like that. You are only a supporter all because of what you can get. It's not about the country and about supporting to see that people are guided to do what they are put in government to do. It's all about what I can get, what my family, these are the things. And that is why you get all those nasty things being said about one another. That's why I wanted you to clarify, when you have a chance, clarify that health and security levy, because you are in so much out there.
Okay.
Squeeze, coals, black pudding, all of those things people will be charged on all those things. So
black pudding.
and coals and all of those things. So people are going to be hurting, and it's somebody that maybe don't read or don't know much. When you're going to hear all of those things, it will have you, a kind of way. You'll be uncertain as to what is happening, what is going on. Will I really be squeezed by all this tax and all of those things? So whenever you get a chance, maybe you can pick somebody from inland revenue. And I think what people are doing there is, to me, I call it just wickedness. Because you cannot go on doing those things. It's too dirty. It's too dirty.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is.
I listened yesterday. The Prime Minister of Jamaica, his wife, became the Speaker.
Speaker of the House. That's correct. Yes.
She had the support of the opposition.
That's
also,
correct. Yes.
Another member.
Yeah.
And I listened to her. So they actually came together for the good of the country. And both people are on the same side, the government side, unlike the others that did not want to do that. They need to take a page from those people. Because what is happening there now is a little bit too nasty. People are calling and saying all kinds of things, knowing deliberately. They are misleading people. And they use platforms where they know they will be given the opportunity and the freedom to just spew anything.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not right.
It isn't at all, caller. Thanks very, very much for that contribution. We'll have to touch on the health and security levy maybe tomorrow for that program. Thanks very much again. And of course, we'll have to touch on many other things tomorrow. Thanks so much for the contributions that came in via WhatsApp platform. And we do hope that you can join us again for another program, final program for the week here on the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. I'm your host, Calixte George Jr., saying goodbye.